Hi Elizabeth, and hello to anyone else watching this. Today I'm doing a personal reading for Elizabeth, and she's given me a couple of questions that she'd like me to answer for her. And I've written them down to make sure that I answer them. So I'm going to read what her questions are, and then I'll get right into the reading. So her first question is, why am I here on Earth? And her second question is, why did I fight with spirits while I was in the hospital with my broken leg? So I've already pulled some cards for you, Elizabeth, with these two questions in mind, and I have written down a lot of notes and messages that have come to me. And I pulled these cards yesterday, and I also asked Spirit to send me messages and signs throughout the day before I made this video for you, so I can get as many messages to you as possible, and so that I could answer these two questions the best way that I can. I've noticed that when I do this and give like a lot of time for Spirit to give me messages, a lot of synchronicities will happen, and they'll give me downloads of messages for the person, and that did happen. So I have a lot that I want to share with you, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to give you the messages in an organized way, because there were a lot of different messages that came through, and so I tried to make it organized with the notes and everything. So there might be moments where I have to gather my thoughts and figure out what I want to share with you next. So I'm going to start with the butterfly and the candles that I have set up over here. So I did meditate before I pulled any cards for you to see what I'd experience and what messages Spirit had for me. So I went into meditation and I asked that my spirit guides come close to me, and I also made the intention to connect with my soul and my higher self as well. And I got a few messages. So I have a guide, his name is Evan, and he was the one that gave me the messages this time. And he usually isn't the one that shares messages with me. He's usually like in the sidelines, and I think he communicates with my other guides, but I don't hear from him a whole lot, so I thought it was cool that he was the one that shared the messages with me this time. So he told me that you asked two big questions, and he kind of laughed about it, because your first question is a really big question to ask, and it's a very complex question, you know, because it's about like the meaning of life, the purpose of you being here, and that's a big question to answer. And so I guess he was just like joking about it, like, how are you going to answer this, Cory? You know, and he showed me these two big blackboards, and he showed me this huge college classroom, and when I see him, he usually is dressed like a college professor. So it's cool that he showed me a classroom environment. And he said, okay, Cory, let's find out the answer to this. And he showed me him like writing out all these numbers on these blackboards to find the answer, and this is like a metaphor of finding the answer to your question of why am I here on earth. And it's not like a simple thing, you know. It's kind of like a big math problem, and you have to really like think about it and really like take your time on it, you know. It's not just like what's my favorite color, it's purple, you know. This is a question that you have to take some time on. I have to take some time answering this question for you. And that was his message about it. And I wrote some more things down. Let me see here. Okay, so there's another thing that he showed me that was pretty important actually. And he just showed me one image, but this one image led to like so many messages. It's crazy. So he showed me these this trail of breadcrumbs that were dropped on the ground, and I saw this grassy hill, and this trail of breadcrumbs was leading up to this hill. And I got the message that this reading is going to be like me being handed breadcrumbs, and it's going to lead me to the final answer and like the grand finale answer or answers to your questions. And like I said, it's not something like it's not a simple answer. It's gonna take a little bit, and it did like they gave me some time to process the answer for you. They did give me the answer to your question. But there was like a message about this with this image. But there was actually more to it than that. So after he showed me this image, I contemplated on it. I kept seeing it in my mind. And there was this familiarity to it, and as I thought about it more, I realized that there was a message about old fairy tale stories. And I heard Hansel and Gretel, and I know that this is a fairy tale story, but at the time when I heard this, like I had no idea what the story was even about. I've just heard about it in a movie that I watched, Shrek. And I remember the scene where they say Hansel and Gretel is like walking on the red carpet, you know. So I know it's a fairy tale story, but I had no idea what it was about. And so I wrote that down, and I was curious, like, what is this story, Hansel and Gretel? And I knew it was important because, like, when I think of fairy tales, that's not what comes to mind, like, ever. It's, like, I just don't think of it very often, so I knew it was important. So I looked it up and I read the story to it. And, believe it or not, in the story, there's actually a scene where Hansel drops breadcrumbs on the ground, and I had no idea. I had no idea about that. And so that connected, so it was like, oh yeah, okay, this is real, this is, like, I know this is a message from my spirit guides, or spirit guide Evan. And the story, I feel, actually has some significance for you, and it has a message in itself, and it really, it started the reading off in a very good way, and it gave me a lot of things to think about and write down, and it led to more messages for you. And it gave me an overview of, like, what I need to talk about and tell you for this reading. So let me see if there's anything else that I wrote down. Okay. I also wrote down that I received the message that your reading is going to be like telling your life story in a way, and finding the answers and meaning to the events, the lessons, people, places, the whys of your life. Because one of your questions is, why did I fight with spirits? Like, why did that happen? And so that correlates with that. It's kind of like telling a story of your life. And one thing that kept coming up was childhood memories and reconnecting with your past. That is a really big thing that I'm going to talk about in this reading today. That's like a part of your life story, your past, and that's something big. Okay, and that's all I'm gonna share with you about that. I'm going to read the Hansel and Gretel story to you. And I made sure that it's okay that I read this because I know there's like copyright rules about that, but I learned that it's a public domain now, so I don't have to worry about that, so it's all good. And the story isn't that long actually, which is really cool. So I'm gonna read you this story, and it isn't like the happiest story in the world, but it has like some really positive messages for you, because these two characters in the story, they come across these obstacles in their life, and they figure out ways to get through it, and in the end, like, it works out for them. And so it is a beautiful story. Like, the witch part isn't that great, and like with the mom isn't that great, but it's kind of like this story where you take the good with the bad, and like the good outweighs the bad in it. And this has a message about like challenges and life experiences that you've gone through that might not have been so pleasant for you, but there is an overall message that in the end it's going to work in your favor, and you're going to come out on top. And there's like a silver lining in every experience in your life that you see as unpleasant for you. So this is about seeing the good in things and experiences, even when they seem unpleasant. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to start. Once upon a time, a very poor woodcutter lived in a tiny cottage in the forest with his 2 children, Hansel and Gretel. His second wife often ill-treated the children and was forever nagging the woodcutter. "There is not enough food in the house for us all. There are too many mouths to feed. We must get rid of the 2 brats," she declared. And she kept on trying to persuade her husband to abandon his children in the forest. "Take them miles from home, so far that they can never find their way back. Maybe someone will find them and give them a home." The downcast woodcutter didn't know what to do. Hansel, who one evening had overheard his parents' conversation, comforted Gretel. "Don't worry. If they do leave us in the forest, we'll find the way home," he said, and slipping out of the house, he filled his pockets with little white pebbles, then went back to bed. All night long, the woodcutter's wife harped on and on at her husband, till at dawn he led Hansel and Gretel away into the forest. But as they went into the depths of the trees, Hansel dropped a little white pebble here and there on the mossy green ground. And it's interesting because I also saw grass. Evan showed me an image of breadcrumbs on grass. So that was crazy to read when I read this. At a certain point, the 2 children found they really were alone. The woodcutter had plucked up enough courage to desert them, had mumbled an excuse, and was gone. Night fell, but the woodcutter did not return. Gretel began to sob bitterly. Hansel, too, felt scared, but he tried to hide his feelings and comfort his sister. "Don't cry, trust me. I swear I'll take you home even if Father doesn't come back for us." Luckily, the moon was full that night, and Hansel waited till its cold light filtered through the trees. "Now give me your hand," he said. "We'll get home safely, you'll see." The tiny white pebbles gleamed in the moonlight, and the children found their way home. They crept through a half-open window without wakening their parents. Cold, tired, but thankful to be home again, they slipped into bed. Next day, when their stepmother discovered that Hansel and Gretel had returned, she went into a rage. Stifling her anger in front of the children, she locked her bedroom door, reproaching her husband for failing to carry out her orders. The weak woodcutter protested, torn as he was between shame and fear of disobeying his cruel wife. The wicked stepmother kept Hansel and Gretel under lock and key all day with nothing for supper but a sip of water and some hard bread. All night, husband and wife quarreled, and when dawn came, the woodcutter led the children out into the forest. Hansel, however, had not eaten his bread, and as he walked through the trees, he left a trail of crumbs behind him to mark the way. Breadcrumbs. Something so little like that is actually a big part of this story, and I had no idea. Like, I didn't even know the stories, so it was amazing for me to read this part. I was like validated about it. But the little boy had forgotten about the hungry birds that lived in the forest. When they saw him, they flew along behind, and in no time at all had eaten all the crumbs. Again, with a lame excuse, the woodcutter left his 2 children by themselves. "I've left a trail like last time," Hansel whispered to Gretel consolingly, but when night fell, they saw to their horror that all the crumbs had gone. "I'm frightened," wept Gretel bitterly. "I'm cold and hungry, and I want to go home." Don't be afraid. I'm here to look after you." Hansel tried to encourage his sister, but he too shivered when he glimpsed frightening shadows and evil eyes around them in the darkness. All night the two children huddled together for warmth at the foot of a large tree. In this part, it made me think of your question of why did I fight with spirits in the hospital? Because it mentions he too shivered when he glimpsed frightening shadows and evil eyes around them in the darkness. And this made me think of the spirits that you encountered. Like, I'm sure you were scared when that happened. And I'm not sure if it was dark or if it was light out, like, or light in the room when that happened, but this like made me think of your question and that event that happened to you. Okay, so I'm going to read the rest of the story to you. My camera cuts out after every 20 minutes, so I had to turn it off before it turned off without me knowing, you know. So I left off with the part when they're in the woods and it's dark. It says, "All night the two children huddled together for warmth at the foot of a large tree. When dawn broke, they started to wander about the forest, seeking a path, but all hope soon faded. They were well and truly lost. On they walked and walked, till suddenly they came upon a strange cottage in the middle of a glade. 'This is chocolate,' gasped Hansel as he broke a lump of plaster from the wall. 'And this is icing,' exclaimed Gretel, putting another piece of wall in her mouth. Starving but delighted, the children began to eat pieces of candy broken off the cottage. 'Isn't this delicious?' said Gretel, with her mouth full. She had never tasted anything so nice. 'We'll stay here,' Hansel declared, munching a bit of nugget. They were just about to try a piece of the biscuit door when it quietly swung open. 'Well, well,' said an old woman, peering out with a crafty look, 'and haven't you children a sweet tooth?' 'Come in, you've nothing to fear,' went on the old woman. Unluckily for Hansel and Gretel, however, the sugar candy cottage belonged to an old witch, her trap for catching unwary victims. The two children had come to a really nasty place. You are nothing but skin and bones,' said the witch, locking Hansel into a cage. 'I shall fatten you up and eat you.' 'You can do the housework,' she told Gretel grimly. 'Then I'll make a meal of you too.' As luck would have it, the witch had very bad eyesight, and when Gretel smeared butter on her glasses, she could see even less. 'Let me feel your finger,' said the witch to Hansel every day to check if he was getting any fatter. Now, Gretel had brought her brother a chicken bone, and when the witch went to touch his finger, Hansel held out the bone. 'You are still much too thin,' she complained. 'When will you become plump?' One day the witch grew tired of waiting. 'Light the oven,' she told Gretel. 'We are going to have a tasty roasted boy today,' which is horrible. She's a mean witch. A little later, hungry and impatient, she went on. 'Run and see if the oven is hot enough,' Gretel returned, whimpering. 'I can't tell if it is hot enough or not.' Angrily, the witch screamed at the little girl. 'Useless child!' 'All right, I'll see for myself.' But when the witch bent down to peer inside the oven and check the heat, Gretel gave her a tremendous push and slammed the oven door shut. The witch had come to a fit and proper end. Gretel ran to set her brother free, and they made quite sure that the oven door was tightly shut behind the witch. Indeed, just to be on the safe side, they fastened it firmly with a large padlock. Then they stayed for several days to eat some more of the house, till they discovered amongst the witch's belongings a huge chocolate egg. Inside lay a casket of gold coins. "The witch is now burnt to a cinder," said Hansel, "so we'll take this treasure with us." They filled a large basket with food and set off into the forest to search for the way home. This time luck was with them, and on the second day they saw their father come out of the house towards them, weeping. "Your stepmother is dead. Come home with me now, my dear children." The two children hugged the woodcutter. "Promise you'll never ever desert us again," said Gretel, throwing her arms around her father's neck. Hansel opened the casket. "Look, father, we are rich now. You'll never have to chop wood again." And they all lived happily together ever after. The end. And I feel that this story is really significant to you because, like, these two kids, they kept running into obstacles and challenges along their path. Like, they were kicked out of their home, left out in the woods, but they were able to come back home because Hansel brought a bunch of white stones and made a trail as they were taken out into the woods. And then, well, finding the house wasn't very fortunate at all. Yeah, it wasn't fortunate at all. But in the end, they found the gold coins and brought home some food. And what else? Yeah. So like I think that's it. Those were all of the challenges that they came across, but in the end they became rich and it all worked in their favor. And I feel like this is a message for you. It's a message for you to see the gold in each and every situation. And it's also a message that, like, the gold will always find you, even if it's later on. Because, like, Hansel and Gretel, they were trapped in the witch house for some time, but then they escaped and then they found the gold. So it's like situations in your life that weren't so pleasant, later down the line, as time goes on, you'll discover gold in that situation. Gold will come out of it. And there will be a silver lining that you'll suddenly notice. And it's like moments in life where when you are living it, it's not very pleasant, but later on you find gratitude for it because it changed you in a positive way, or it taught you something, and it changed the course of your future because you experienced that. And so there's like always something good to be seen in different experiences and situations, and seeing the good, seeing the gold, the silver linings will help you a lot, I feel. It will help to take you out of the negative thinking and sometimes being in a dark place with it all. Thinking of like the goal, thinking or trying to find the light in the situation, it will help to lift you up and out of that place. And that's another thing that I experienced during meditation. I got this sensation of being lifted up. It was like my soul was like it was like moving up like into the sky. I had that sensation and that feeling, and later on I realized that this is a big message for you. It's about you being uplifted and being lifted up by other people, and also lifting yourself up and out of negative thinking and like a darkness, so to speak, like yeah, like negative thinking and experiences that aren't so great. But you can like be in a certain situation, and just like by changing your perspective and your thoughts on it, it actually like changes it in a way because you see it differently. And so suddenly it doesn't seem so bad as before, because you've learned to accept it, and you know and have faith that it is there and you're experiencing it for a purpose, for a higher purpose and a reason that is not yet seen to you. And that's the gold of a situation, the golden purpose. Yeah. So let me think what I want to share with you next. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the color yellow with you. So during meditation, I also saw some colors around you, like your aura colors. And I saw this really light yellow around you, but I also saw this light purple as well. And I thought this was very cool and interesting because usually when I see purple, I see like this dark purple, but this time it was a lavender purple along with light yellow. And I also saw some tan in there, like yellow tan, and all of the colors were light. They were like pastel colors. And so that's why I chose the yellow candles and this yellow butterfly over here. And yellow also has a significant message and meaning for you. So yellow, it's symbolic of happiness and joy. And this is a big part of your reading. Like I titled it, Finding Your Joy. This reading is all about you finding happiness and joy in your life. And that's really important. So that's why I put out these yellow things for you. And I also saw yellow in your aura too. So I looked up the meanings to these colors and I wrote them down. So I'm gonna tell you what pastel or aura colors mean. Okay, so it says pastels, a sensitive blend of light and color, more so than basic colors, shows sensitivity and a need for serenity. And I definitely feel this with you. I feel that you are sensitive to certain environments, and like there's certain environments that you might avoid because they might make you uncomfortable, and you are just sensitive to your environment, the people that you surround yourself around. That's important. Oh, I also saw peach too. Peach colored energy. Peach, light yellow, lavender, and light tan. So, light yellow means emerging psychic and spiritual awareness, optimism and hopefulness, positive excitement about new ideas. And I know that you do have spiritual awareness because you had that experience with the spirits in the hospital. So you must have some kind of spiritual awareness, and awareness to the spiritual worlds, and emerging psychics. So you might be experiencing psychic messages coming to you. It also says optimism and hopefulness. That goes along with the future, and the future card did come out for you. And it was the third card that came out for you. Okay. This over here. It says peach is another rare color, one which indicates a person with lots of compassion, understanding, and the ability to sacrifice for the needs of others, but not in the martyr-like way. So there's peach. Okay, so for lavender, it says imagination, visionary, daydreamer, etheric, and spirit. So I definitely feel that you have a great imagination. You are a visionary. You are possibly very artistic as well. A daydreamer, so you could daydream a lot. I feel that you are in your head a lot, like just like thinking a lot, like in your imagination, connecting with your imagination, and like very much up like in the spiritual worlds. I did write down somewhere that it's like you're in two worlds at once, like both the spirit world and the physical world. So like sometimes it's hard for you to be grounded almost like in this physical reality, because you are like in a sense like up in the sky, a lot like in your imagination and connecting with the spirit worlds. And I'm like that a lot too. I do daydream a lot. And I feel like that is something that happens with you, like you daydream a lot, and that's something that you experience. So it says lavender auras are usually found around those who lead a double life. They live one way while wanting to live another, or they're dishonest with their dealings with their family and friends. Oh, excuse me. So I definitely feel that like you are trying to reconnect with your happiness and joy in life. And it may be that the way you are living life currently, like it hasn't been giving you that joy and happiness that you really want to be experiencing in life. And this may be because of society and what society tells you about like how you should live your life, but this is about how you want to live your life. That is the most important thing. And like a message that has been coming through is about you living life the way that you want to live it, and reconnecting with the things that make you happy, instead of listening to other people trying to like push their beliefs onto you and your life. So that is possible, like that could be true, that you were in a way like living a double life, like you're living a life that you don't really feel like that happy and fulfilled with. So there's something about changing the things that you do, changing the way that you live life so that you can experience more happiness and joy. The spirit world, like they're trying to get this across to you, like they want to see you smile, and there's just like, it feels like a lack, like you're feeling a lack of happiness in your life. And I wrote down some stuff. Okay, they want to see joy and happiness in your heart. Oh, I was also going to say, so one of my guides, Butterfly, I call her Butterfly, because she always shows me yellow butterflies. And I had this amazing experience with these yellow butterflies flying towards me one day, and it was a message from her telling me that her name is Butterfly, and she's my joy guide. So she helps to bring joy into my life and into other people's lives, and that's another reason why I chose to show you this yellow butterfly, because she's helping me with this reading today. And she told me she wants to help reawaken your happiness and joy. I wrote that down. She's going to help you to reawaken your joy and happiness, and that is what the spirit world wants for you. So that I thought that was beautiful and very sweet. She said, yes, Cory, I'm helping you with this reading today, and I'm going to help Elizabeth today. So yes. They also or she told me, let's pull the curtains open and bring in the sunshine for Elizabeth today. And this is like metaphorical. Let's bring in the light and happiness. And that's really important for you. That's really important in this reading. That's gonna be something that I'm gonna keep like bringing up. Oh, I was also going to say yellow is also symbolic of like sunny days, happy days, bright and sunshiny days. That's another thing that I heard, and I wanted to share that with you. I thought that was sweet as well. And the reason why I bring up sunny days and happy days is because that's a part of your purpose here, and part of the reason why you are here on Earth. So I really believe that your mission is to find happiness here. So as I was asking Spirit what your life purpose is, your soul mission, I began to receive thoughts about happiness and you like being on a mission to find it. And they gave me this perspective of you in the spirit world looking down on the earth, or being able to see events taking place on earth and everyone doing what they're doing. And they showed me this image of this mom on this beach with her 2 kids, 2 girls, and I could still see it in my mind, and it keeps like coming up. So I feel that it is really important, this scene that my spirit guide showed me. And it's like the perfect image or depiction of family. Because this mom, she's on the beach with her 2 kids, and they're really young. I'd say like around 2 years old, like 2 or 3. And they're just loving life, and they're really happy. And I keep seeing the mom's face, and she has the biggest smile ever. And I describe it as, it's the kind of smile that you just can't fake. It's the smile that you see on someone that is truly happy and they've found their true joy in life. And when you saw this in the spirit world, I really do feel that you saw this from the perspective of the spirit world. And when you saw this, you felt in your heart this calling to be able to experience it yourself in this place. And you also started to explore our world more after that. You found interest in it, and so like you went on this journey of seeing all of the happiness and all of the good things that come from being here. And you saw all of the love and all of the happiness on this planet. And you wanted to experience it yourself. You wanted to come here because you saw this. So I really believe that your mission right now and then was to find that happiness. You wanted to be like that mom on the beach. You wanted to smile as big as her, and you wanted to experience that kind of happiness that she had at that moment. And I feel that you did experience her joy while seeing that from the spirit world. But I also got the message that it's like seeing people enjoying like an experience in a different place. So it's it's like seeing pictures of different locations and places on the earth, around the world, and you suddenly want to go there because you saw the joy in the people's faces and the pictures and all of the things that they were able to do. So that's another big message coming through for you with this. You wanted to experience happiness in a different place. And it makes complete sense because, like, wouldn't you want to experience something so beautiful like happiness in as many ways and forms that you could experience it in? So it makes a lot of sense because, and like I've thought this as well, like, don't we feel happiness and love and all of those good things in the spirit world? So why do we come here, you know? Like, why is there a different place in the spirit world that we can go to? Like, why come here? And another answer that I've come up with is it's to experience. It's to experience something different, or to experience a feeling in a different place and in a different way. And there's also something about, like, being able to find happiness even through the challenges we face. And when that happens, we become stronger, and the happiness is like on a different level because you had to go through so much to find it and to get into that place. And I believe that happiness comes from within. It comes from within us. But it's like a mission in itself, finding happiness, because no one can just come up to you and say, go and do this, like, go and travel to New Zealand or somewhere. It will make you happy. That just doesn't really happen, because only you can determine what makes you happy. And it's very complex because different things make different people happy. It's not the same for every single person. Like, for some people, money makes them happy. But for other people, family makes them happy. And for other people, traveling makes them happy. And so it's different for everyone. So the real mission is to find what makes you happy. What brings happiness into your heart? What is that? And it's also the discovery that it's within yourself too, and that you can truly find happiness anywhere you are. But there's a common belief that it comes from outside experiences. So that's another journey and experience and learning that you came here to do. That's what I truly believe. So you're here to find happiness and joy. And another thing is, you are also here to bring happiness and joy into others' lives as well. That makes your soul very happy too. So, like, if I got this message, like, if all you are able to do is bring happiness into other people's lives, then you will feel that you have completed your mission here. and your purpose, but you yourself want to experience happiness too. That is a big thing that you want. That's something that your soul wants. I feel that you've like got glimpses of happiness in your life, moments of happiness in your past, but I feel that you haven't like gotten to that like pure happiness that your soul like really wants. Like you really want to experience like pure happiness, and you feel that you just haven't experienced it on the level that you wish to yet. And that's like a part of the journey, you know? So I wanted to share that with you because it was a really strong message. So my answer is happiness, to find happiness. And another part of your soul, like what your soul loves as well, is community. That's another thing that keeps coming through for you. You long to be a part of a family, and it doesn't have to be like blood family, you know, like blood relatives. You just long to be a part of a group that is like a family and a community that supports each other through life. And that's another thing that you wish for and you want to experience, because other things that you saw from the spirit world were people coming together after tragic events, after tragedies. And I heard a Red Cross. So there might be something about a Red Cross or groups of people that help others through trying times, whatever it is. It could be weather disasters, or just helping people that really need help. So this could be something that you actually might want to do as a career, or something that you may feel called to do. I'm not sure, but that's something that came through as well. And when you saw people coming together when love and support was most needed, it really touched your heart, and it was like the most beautiful thing that you've seen in our world. So that is important to you as well, and that's a part of your soul mission too. So to bring happiness in others' lives as well, as much as you can. And it doesn't have to be in big ways. It can be in small ways, and even small ways have like a huge ripple effect in others' lives. So yeah. I'm gonna see if there's anything else. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the cards now. So the first card that came out, the very first one, and this didn't surprise me at all, but it was pretty amazing when I saw it. The purpose card came out for you, and it fits so perfectly with your question of why am I here on earth? What is my purpose? What is the purpose of me being here? And so this card completely validated you on that, like on your question. We're going to talk about this today. That's what it was pretty much saying. And finding your joy, that's what I titled this reading, because that is your soul mission, finding your joy. And that's a part of the purpose. And the expectancy card was the second one to come out for you. And I had to meditate on this for a little bit to really understand what it meant for you. So the future card came out after this one. And I thought this was perfect, because expecting something, like you could expect something in the future to come in. And so there are two cards that they just fit together, you know? They fit perfectly. So Spirit wants you to know that I feel that you don't expect a lot to happen for you in your life. Like, it's almost like you don't feel that you deserve pure happiness. And you feel that you aren't worthy of the things that you desire in life. There's something about this, like your beliefs, the beliefs of yourself aren't true. The ones that say you aren't worthy or like you don't deserve happiness, beliefs like that, they aren't true. And so Spirit is telling you, start expecting more from your life, because you truly deserve it. You truly deserve all the happiness in the world. And that is truth. So that's why the expectancy card came out along with the future card. So they're telling you to start dreaming bigger in your life, because you deserve a lot. You deserve so much more than you allow yourself to feel that you deserve in life. You deserve so much more. And I thought that was a beautiful message for you. So start dreaming bigger for yourself. Start expecting more for yourself. Start breaking down the limitations that you have put up for yourself. I do believe that we can limit ourselves of certain experiences in life because of our beliefs. Like, if we believe we don't deserve that soulmate, then they won't come in. We won't meet them because we don't believe we deserve them, you know? So they're saying start expecting more, start, there's a certain term that I'm trying to find, what is it? I can't think of it at the moment, but there's, just start to dream bigger. Like, what is that thing in life that you want so badly, but in a way you don't feel that you can get it or that it's possible for you? Spirit is saying start trying to break those down, break those beliefs down, and start putting up more beautiful and more loving expectations for yourself. And this goes along with self-love. Start practicing more self-love and start talking to yourself in a more loving way. That's another thing that has been coming through. So sometimes I like to just shuffle decks because it's kind of like a meditation for me, and I really enjoy it. And as I was shuffling this deck, I wasn't even trying to pull a card for you, but this one came out, and I thought, oh wow, this is a perfect card for you actually, because it says potential, and we're talking about expecting something in your future here and starting to expect more for yourself. And it says think big for your future. So start dreaming big. Just like whatever your heart wants, just go for it. Don't limit yourself because you have the potential. And in this, you could see there's an angel here. And that's another thing that keeps showing up in your reading is Spirit wants you to know that there are beautiful guardians around you, like guardian angels. And there's a guardian angel in this globe, in this card. And they want you to know that there's spirits helping you. So I wanted to share that with you. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about this fourth card that came out for you. So usually I only have 3 cards pulled, 3 of these white ones, but after I put the deck down, I felt that one more needed to come out. So I shuffled it again, and the flow card showed up. So this card is about you flowing with the life experiences that come your way, and to not resist them, and to embrace the experiences and to flow with them. But another message that came to me was, it goes along with your mission here, and it has a message about you flowing with happiness. This is something that your soul longs for and wants to experience here. To flow with pure happiness. And so the next card that came out was this one, the acceptance card. And I thought it was the perfect card because, as you can see, it shows this girl riding this wave, and she's just going with the flow of it. And she has her head back, she has her eyes closed, and she's just embracing the experience and the moment she's in, even though the wave could just go over her like right now, you know? She's not worried about the wave behind her. She's just allowing the fish to take her where she needs to go, and she's enjoying the moment rather than being worried about it and rushing to leave this wave, you know? And there's a message about this for you, to accept your experiences even though they may not be very pleasant, but finding a way to move peacefully through the challenges that you face and experiences that you go through, and possibly finding happiness through them even, but more importantly, finding peace with them. If you accept the experiences, you are able to find peace because you're not resisting them. You're accepting them for what they are, and when you accept you just find peace with it. You're not struggling, you're not conflicting with the experience. You're just deciding to put your hands down and surrender to it. And when you do that, you could also, in a way, find the gold, the golden purpose of it, the learning, and the silver linings. And that's all I want to say about this card. And the next one that came out was this Get Clear card. Get clear. And this is about getting clear on what you want in life. And this goes along with the expectancy and future cards. It's about getting clear on what you expect to see in your future, and also getting clear on what makes you happy and figuring out what those things are. The first answer is yourself, but like the next answer is what things bring you joy, what places, what like friends do you want to spend time with, how would you want your life to look, if someone could create a life, like a perfect life for you, in a day, like what would you tell them? You know, like think about like an architect. There's an architect that comes to you and he's like, okay, I can build your perfect house in a day. What would you tell him? What would it look like? And then you've got like a life planner. Life planner. And they have like this whole list of things. So, okay, friends, what friends do you want to have in your life? Where do you want to live? What do you want to do? What do you want to see? You know, what do you want to experience? What would you tell them? And this is about getting clear and writing these things down and really contemplating on them. And you could see this lady, she has this book in front of her, and this has a message about you writing these things down. What's the list? What's your vision? You have an amazing imagination. So I'm sure you could come up with so many things if you sit down and have a pen and paper with you and just start dreaming, and like dream big. Don't put any limits on it, because like in a real sense you do have a lot of potential, and if you don't try at it, how do you know if you'll ever get it? You know, like you have to try, you have to work towards those things. So start dreaming big for yourself and start planning. Get clear on your dream. That's what I'm hearing. The third card that came out was this Guardian card, and this is really sweet. So the spirit world is telling you that they're watching over you and they're helping you. And it's like you're this girl on this boat and this is your guardian, and they want you to know that there's good spirits around you. And there was also this message that sometimes you may feel that the world is out to get you in a sense, and you feel that sometimes there's only bad spirits around you, and you don't really believe that there's good guardians and spirits helping you, but spirit is like, no, there's good spirits, and we're helping you right now. And they're just sending you a lot of love and trying to help you to find your happiness in life. And I'm gonna skim through the book for this card real quick. Okay, so it says, this card indicates communication with your guardian angel or spirit guide. No matter what is going on in your life, you have angels and guardian spirits with you. You have an innate ability to connect with the spiritual energy that surrounds you. Don't wait to be in crisis or an extreme situation before you connect to your spirit guides. You can ask them for guidance on almost anything. Your angels and guardians are here for you, but they cannot intervene unless you ask for their support and guidance. They cannot interfere with your free will, but when you ask for their support, the outcome is often better than you imagined. Yeah. So they're just saying, we're here, we're around you, and you can ask us for help if you need it. So this card really stood out to me, and it goes along with the whole message about your soul mission here. It says, commit to happiness. And it's got this vibrant yellow, which I think is beautiful because whenever I think of a color that signifies happiness, it's always yellow that I see. And this lady in the card, she does look happy. And so Spirit is telling you to commit to happiness and to know that you deserve happiness, like all the happiness in the world. So start expecting it for yourself. Start expecting happy days to come. Yeah, that's all I'm getting with that card. So I'm gonna get to your next question. So the question of why did I fight with spirits in the hospital? And I felt drawn to use the Cory tarot for this because it portrays like events that may be considered like dark experiences. It has this kind of like spooky feel to it, so I thought it would give me some really clear messages about this experience that you had, and I felt that they would give very clear answers, a very clear answer to this question of yours, and they really did. And to my surprise, they also shed some light on some other things that have been going on. So the very first card that came out was the Eight of Swords. One sec. And when I saw this card, I immediately thought that you being in the hospital, it could have been a little scary for you, and you might have been uncomfortable. Like the hospital, I don't think is a place that many people want to be, you know? And it could be a scary place to be and just really uncomfortable. So I feel that you are in a vulnerable place when you are in the hospital with your broken leg, and this in a way, like allowed these spirits to go to you because you were in a vulnerable place. And I think this card portrays that perfectly, because you could see this darkness around this girl, and she just looks scared. And yeah. And also, there's something about inner child and childhood memories coming through in this reading for you. And I feel that you might be holding on to some heavy emotions from past experiences, especially from childhood. And this could have made you vulnerable to these spirits as well. So, like, there's something within you that is kind of like vibrating in a similar resonance with these spirits that came to you. I feel that you're holding on to some like past hurts, and I feel that this has to do with family. And that's another thing, because when you look at this card, you could see that it's like a little girl in this card, and she has this bunny outfit, and so it has this real childhood portrayal. And that was another thing coming through. And I also chose 3 crystals for you, and I'll leave the links to the site where it says the properties of each of these crystals for you. And every single one talks about past memories and reconnecting with them, and they talk about like painful memories. So I feel that you're holding on to some like feelings, negative feelings correlated with past memories of yours. And there may be some healing that like can take place for that. And so that's another message, another reason why these spirits were able to come to you. And there's another thing about you, in a way, giving away your power, because the only way that these spirits can really like affect us is if we give away our power, because like they aren't that powerful, you know, because they don't resonate with love and like the good vibrations, the good frequencies. So you have to be like vulnerable or like resonate with some kind of negative like resonance for them to be able to, in a way, like fight you, because you said you fought with these spirits. And my answer for that is something to do with inner child and past memories. And there was also something in this book that resonated pretty well with the rest of your reading and what I was picking up for you. So let me just go to it real quick. Okay. It says, uncertainty and suspicion rob you of your independence, making you feel trapped or helpless. Get your facts straight and don't be intimidated by mere shadows. The key concepts are restriction, paranoia, giving away your power. So you could have also felt trapped and helpless when you're in the hospital because of your leg. And I'm sure anyone would be, because like getting an injury that's shocking, you know, it can put you in a state of shock and vulnerability. So I feel like you were already in that place, you know, feeling trapped and helpless. It also says, get your facts straight and don't be intimidated by mere shadows. So the fact is, you are powerful, and if you don't want to experience negative spirits coming to you, then you won't, because like, you know your power. The power is within your heart, and when you know this, then you know that like, they don't have power over you. These spirits don't have power. And so that's what it means by like getting your facts straight. So know your power and don't give it away. That's what this card is saying. And don't be intimidated by mere shadows. So when you get scared, you can in a way give away your power, because like, you're not in that stable state anymore. You're in a place of fear rather than love or peace. So being in like a place of power, then you won't be intimidated by the images and like the scary spirits. You might get frightened at first, but then you'll say, okay, I know you're here, I saw you, but you can't do anything to me because I'm more powerful. You can't do anything, and I have free will, and I say you can't touch me, you can't come close to me, so please leave. And you know, that's power. You take back your power. And that's also my advice to you about how to get rid of these spirits. And also don't get, or try not to get angry with them, because that's also like a frequency that they are on. Anger, fear, helplessness, pain, you know, all of those things. So try to be in a place of calm and power and love. Try to stay in your heart when something like that happens. I know that's difficult to do, but I really do feel that will change things really drastically if like spirits want to come to you again, you know. Know your power. That's the message. Okay, so I'm going to send you some energy to help you with these memories that you have been struggling with, and these emotions that you've been carrying with you, because I feel that it's really heavy in your heart and also in your stomach area. These are two places that I feel you are carrying some stuff. So I'm gonna send you some energy to help you with this, and anything else that you may need some healing for. So I'm gonna close my eyes and meditate for a little bit and make sure that the energy is going to you. I'm asking this energy to also go to anyone else watching this. Okay, I feel that it's going to you. Okay, it's being sent to you. Okay. So let me think about what I want to share with you next. So the second card that came out, answering the question of why did spirits fight with you in the hospital. And this card also goes along with feeling trapped and in a way helpless. There's this Rapunzel feel to this card, and I know that Rapunzel, she was trapped in this castle and she wasn't able to leave or escape. And I feel that you may be feeling this, like feelings of helplessness and being trapped, and you might have felt this in the hospital because, you know, like when you have a broken leg, it's difficult to move around, you know, because like you probably needed crutches to move around, and that can leave you feeling a little helpless and a little trapped because you can't really do much. You need to worry about your leg, like not further injuring it or anything. So you might have been bedridden for some time too, and that can leave you feeling a little helpless as well. So I feel that you were in a state of vulnerability, and that kind of allowed these spirits to come to you for that reason. But my arm is getting a little tired, so yeah, there's the answer to that. And this card also has a message about you, like the way you see yourself. And there's a strong message about you seeing yourself through the eyes of love, through the lens of love, and talking to yourself more lovingly and seeing the beautiful person and the beautiful soul that you are. I feel that sometimes you are hard on yourself, and the way you see yourself at times, it isn't the nicest way to see yourself. And Spirit is saying that they see you as beautiful and loving, and you are a beautiful person, and they would love for you to see yourself through their eyes. And you could see in this card this caterpillar. One sec. I don't know why my camera has a hard time sometimes. Okay. You can see this caterpillar holding up this mirror. And this Rapunzel princess, it seems like she's not very happy, and the caterpillar is trying to show her what he sees, or what she sees. Please see what I see. You are beautiful. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I see in this card. They want you to see who you really are, to believe that you are beautiful and to see that for yourself. Yeah. And in a way they're saying you're a princess. You're beautiful like a princess. Your soul and just who you are. what else am I getting from this? That's all I'm getting. There was also something important said about this card in this book. Okay, so Six of Cups. Look into your deepest memories to remember who you are and what makes you happy. Let others help you find yourself again. And the key concepts are revisiting the past, childhood memories, and forgiveness. So here we go again with the happiness. Remember what makes you happy, and look into your deepest memories to remember who you are. So, like with the mirror, Spirit wants you to see who you really are. And they could also be saying they would love for you to see what makes you happy because they want you to find your happiness. And I studied hypnotherapy for some time, and I did learn some things. So I learned that, like, if I was a hypnotherapist right now and someone came to me and said I'm depressed, and like if they said I can't remember a time where I've ever been happy, I'd take them into a trance-like state, and I'd ask them to remember or go back to a memory where they felt happiness. And I guarantee you that they would find a memory and a time in their subconscious where they felt happiness. And I'd have them use that as a reference for when they felt happiness. So when they felt depressed again, they could go back to that memory, they could recall it, and they'd be able to feel happiness by doing that because they have a reference. So this is kind of like that. It's saying remember the happy times. Remember a time where you felt happy and use that as a reference to find happiness again in your life. So there's some advice about that. And this card is also talking about revisiting the past, childhood memories, and forgiveness. So there's definitely something about childhood and memories that may be hurtful to think about. Yeah. And the crystals, they all, like all three of them talked about that. It was crazy. So yeah, there's like healing for inner child that I feel needs to take place. And that's why I feel there was a message about Hansel and Gretel, the two kids, a story about two kids, inner child, and the challenges that they faced. So it's kind of like talking about like your childhood experiences and healing of your inner child. And here we have Rapunzel, a card that reminds me of Rapunzel, a card with a little girl in it. And there's just this overall feeling of childhood. And my joy guide, she also presents herself as a child, and she's helping me today. So I thought that was interesting how so many messages about your past and your childhood have come up for you. The third card that came out was the High Priestess. And this card is all about wisdom, intuition, connecting to the spirit world. And there's a message about you seeing the truth, seeing who you truly are, and knowing your power. And this is the solution to these spirits coming to you, knowing your power and knowing that they cannot be in your space if you aren't okay with it. And that's the truth. The truth is you have the power over these spirits. And it also has a message about your connection to the spiritual world, because this card is like very, very spiritual, and it's all about intuition. And that's the reason why, like, in a way, like, you sense these spirits because you have a connection with the spirit world, and you are very connected with your psychic abilities. So that's part of the reason why you fought with spirits in the hospital, because you were able to perceive them, first of all, or else you probably wouldn't have like seen them or known that they were there. But it's also a message about see the truth, see who you truly are, stand in your power, because you are powerful. And you can tell these spirits that they are not allowed in your space and they have to leave. They can't be there, you know? So that's my answer for you and my advice about that. So I'm going to pull some more cards for you. I'm just going to set these ones aside so I have some room. So when I was connecting and receiving messages for you, I saw the dolphin card from this oracle deck, and it has an important message for you. So I'd say that is your spirit animal currently. And I'll leave some links in the description box below so you can read what dolphins represent and symbolize. And I'll tell you that one of them is community and harmony with others, and they also go along with happiness, because when you think about dolphins, they always look happy, and they're always in a joyful state. Like when you look at them, it even looks like they're smiling most of the time. So I thought that was a beautiful message, and so I'm curious if it's gonna come out for you. I didn't take it out, and I was like dying to shuffle this deck to see if it would come out for you, but I thought, well, if it comes out, I'm gonna be a little upset. So I want to do this on camera in case if it does. But I'm fine if any other card comes out. But sometimes I'll see a card while I'm shuffling and it will be the one that comes out, and I'm wanting to like verbalize the cards that I see now, so you know that I thought it was gonna come out, and it's kind of validation. So let's see. Okay, messages for Elizabeth. I'm just gonna shuffle this, and my spirit guides are gonna pull the right card. Oh my gosh, the dolphin. And did you see that it flipped out like a dolphin? This is awesome. Yeah, they chose a dolphin for you. So, and after I saw this card, like I didn't memorize the words that are on the card, you know? So I looked it up online so I didn't have to like take it out, look through the entire deck. And I noticed that the word flow is on it as well, and that is one of the cards that came out for you. So I thought that was really cool. And it also says joy on it, which is so beautiful because that is why you are here. You are here to experience joy and happiness. And I think that is so beautiful. That's like, it's the most beautiful mission to have. To like be on a search and a journey to like true happiness and joy. And that goes along with discovering yourself as well. Like when you find happiness, you find a big part of who you are too, because you realize like what makes you happy and where that like beauty, that light comes from. Like happiness is light. So that was beautiful. And also says compassion, and I feel that you are very compassionate. You're a very loving and compassionate person, and that's just who you are. And like I said, when you see dolphins, they're happy creatures. They love to swim around, and they love to communicate and interact with other sea creatures as well. They're like masters of happiness. When I think of animals that are happy and symbolize happiness, I'd say the dolphin. And like I said, when you see them, a lot of the time it looks like they're actually smiling, and they're just beautiful creatures. They have this light about them, and it also says light. Let's see if we'll focus here. It's like I'll figure this out. Oh, there we go. Okay. And I'll send these pictures to you as well, so you can see them without having to rewatch this video. So I'll do that for you as well. I'm so happy that this card came out. So think about that for a second. Look how thick this deck is. And the dolphin card came out of like all of the cards that are in this deck, which is absolutely amazing. And I also want to say the number 4 is also significant for you. So 4 cards came out, and then another 4 cards came out, and this card has a 4 on it. You can see this card has 4 on it at the top here. And these cards, all of these cards have the number 4 on them. Okay, 4, 34, 49, 49, and 44. So I'm gonna find a link to like the meaning and symbolism of 4, because I don't know a whole lot about numerology and the different numbers, but I feel that there's something important about the number 4 for you. And you could even do your own research. Just look up number 4 meaning or number 4 symbolism, and you'll find some sites that talk about it. So I wanted to share that with you also. And I'm gonna tell you what the crystals are, the names of the crystals. Okay, so one of the stones that I chose for you is the Wonder Stone. The next one is Ocean Jasper, Merlinite, which is a really cool name, and Pink Rhodochrosite. And I'm going to put the links to the sites for these crystals in the description box, so you can go to them and you can read all of the properties and the meanings of them. And you can see for yourself the significance of reconnecting with your past and childhood memories, and you can see more messages as well. Another message and significant thing for you was self-love, and it did talk about joy too, finding joy, so I wanted to share that with you. So thank you so much, Elizabeth, for being open and wanting to receive a reading from me. I feel so honored to have answered those questions for you, especially your question of why you are here. I feel so honored, so thank you so much for allowing me to